All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for Tuesday, June 6, 2017. As a courtesy to all, please turn off your cell phones. I myself just did it. Sometimes we forget, so let's do that. We're going to begin this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. It's going to be led by Randy Miller. Randy Miller being a veteran of a foreign conflict, having faithfully and honorably served this country, this being the 73rd anniversary of the landing of D-Day. And also in observation and observance of that, this sand I personally took from Bloody Omaha Beach when I was there on the beaches of Normandy on a trip in 2010. I keep this on my armoire to remind me of the sacrifices of the American soldiers, men and women, and that way I don't take them for granted on any given day. So I'll ask that Randy Miller lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Kay Sullivan of the West Kern Christian Center. If you'll join us, please.
Well, please join me as we salute our nation's flag, and then we're reminded that freedom is not free. So, hand over your heart and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we come before you tonight with great expectations. We thank you, Lord, for the men and women that you've put in leadership over our city. God, we thank you for the finances that are increasing. We thank you that even the population in Taft is growing. And we just give you all the praise. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councilman Miller. All right, Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
All right, first item on this evening's agenda, public hearing ordinance amendment of Title V of the Taft Municipal Code. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Knorr. The California Building Code Standard Commission has published the latest 2016 editions of the Building and Fire Codes for the state of California. They become effective for every state agency and local municipality as of January 1st, 2017. There are relatively few proposed changes to the state codes as published by CBSC. Local amendments proposed include, but are not necessarily limited to, appendix chapters simplifying regulations for signs, patio covers, swimming pools, hot tubs, grading, gray water systems, installation and standards, California Green Building Standards Code adopted without appendices.
Thank you very much. At this time, we're going to conduct a public hearing. So I'm going to open said hearing to the public. If there's anybody wishing to comment for this, please step forward. Seeing none, anybody wishing to comment against it? Seeing none of those, then we're going to close the public hearing. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft approving an ordinance amendment, an amendment Title V of the Taft Municipal Code to adopt the 2016 California Building, Residential, Plumbing, Mechanical, Electrical, Energy, Green Building Standards, and Fire Codes with certain exceptions, edits, and corrections for first reading by title only. Reading of such be waived.
Motion.
Second. A motion and a second. Do you have any discussion? Mayor Pro Tem?
No, I have none.
Not here. Gentlemen?
I do.
All right, Councilman Cryer.
We have a lot of ordinances we pass in our council meetings in the chambers here. It's very, very rare we have anybody coming here for or against from the public about the ordinances that we have. And then it's a shame that someone don't come here and help contribute, maybe make a better ordinance or find some errors or something or complain about it. But we pass it, and with the best of our knowledge, the right way to go. It'd be nice if the public would get involved more and come to the meetings, the pre-meetings, and add or detract to it. That's sad that they don't come and participate. Just like today, there's hardly anybody here in our chambers. Like always, the middle section's always empty, always on the right and always on the left, but never in the middle, but it's empty this time. We need to get more involved with our civic, what's going on in our town, and make it a better place than what it is. There's a lot of room for improvement. We are making things better. We're going in the right direction, but it'd be nice to have another input from the public, get involved more. That's all I have to say.
All right, very good. It is, after all, their government, your government, so you can certainly be a part of it.
Mr. Mayor, I think I've kind of learned over the years that when people don't show up, I like to think that we're doing it right. So,
Boringly
so
efficient.
there's not any controversy because we've crossed all our T's and dotted our I's, and we're doing it.
And we thank our staff for that.
But it would be nice once in a while to have some public input.
If anybody were to be here, by the way, Mark Staples, our planning director, is right here, and I bet he has just answers to any question you could possibly imagine. He's sitting there smiling, just a fountain of information.
Bought you 3 volumes of the
There they all are. All right, well, thank you very much for being here, and thanks staff for doing such a good job on these things. Next up is citizen request public comments this evening. We didn't.
No. We got to vote.
Oh, I beg
got a
your pardon.
motion.
Yeah, let me finish
Item
that
number-
up. I
item
rolled right
number
into
2.
citizen.
Yeah, you just-
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill.
Yes.
Mayor North.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. All right.
There we go.
Next up, citizen request public comments. We have none this evening, so I'm not going to read this whole thing, this dissertation. We're going to move forward with council statements, non-action. I'm going to begin with Councilman Miller this evening.
Really, at this point in time, I have no comments. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. Councilman Cryer.
Boy, there's a lot to say, but I'm going to save it for next council meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Bryant.
Just one light thing today. This time of year is an easy time for all of us to recollect and think about those folks who may have lost their lives in service of our country. With Memorial Day about a week ago, today we have D-Day. We realize that folks 18, 20 years old, some 73 years ago, gave their lives so we could sit here and enjoy the freedoms we have today, and I'm extremely thankful. And I know that goes without saying that you all are as well. But speaking of that freedom, coming up here in just about a month, we've got one of the greatest fireworks show that this side of Kern County has ever seen, right there on Rails to Trails, courtesy of the Chamber. So just folks, remember, go by the Chamber, take that $5 out of your pocket, skip your Starbucks for that day, toss it in the donation bucket, and let's enjoy a heck of a fireworks show on the 4th. So that's all I've got, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to remind people that we are having a car show downtown on the 23rd and the 24th. So when people say there's nothing to do in Taft, there's lots of things, and we'll have a fabulous show. We're going to have all kinds of vendors down there, music down there, and it's very good for the downtown to have people coming down and remember that this is the heart of our town, and we are growing down there, and it's very good for the merchants. It's good for the people to see what we're doing, and come down and have fun. We think we've got a pretty good show down there this year. So
23rd is a Friday?
23rd is Friday, and that's going to be cruise night, and they're going to have a free showing of American Graffiti at the Fox Theater, which should be lots of fun. And hopefully everybody will come out in their cool cars and cruise. And then we're going to have, early morning on the 24th is the car show.
Fantastic.
So I believe you'll have your car there?
I believe I'll have my cool car there. You better believe it.
That's right. Okay, my cool car's not going to be there. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I have several things. In regard to the fireworks, we have representative of Kern County Fire back there, and the firemen have been out there helping us out, fill the boot. I myself stopped at the intersection and put money in there to help fund the fireworks several times, and the Chamber put on some events. I'll tell you one thing that was really interesting. I went to True Value to purchase some things. You know what? If you have nothing else to do on a Saturday morning, get up bright and early, go have a cup of coffee at True Value and just walk up and down the Bolt section. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I do that. I always end up picking something up. Well, when I was checking out, I was surprised when the young lady said, "Would you like to donate to the Taft fireworks?" So as I was checking out of True Value, then just a simple matter of saying, yeah, I'll give you another $1 or $3 or $5. And I spoke with Eric Cooper of True Value, and he said that campaign was doing very, very well. Well received by the community. It's just a little bit of, just a reminder, hey, this is your show. And when I contributed, there was a fellow there who was asked if he wanted to, and he was in a hurry and thought, well, no, I don't think I will at this point in time. And I took the opportunity to say, have you ever watched fireworks in the city of Taft? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I said, you ever contributed to your show? Everybody else is paying for your show. You don't think maybe you could kick down a little something? And finally shamed him in and gave him a little something. But anyway, so congratulations.
That's so true, though. That's so true.
I think it's a great campaign, and so I want to thank them for going to the trouble to do that. Next up, we talk about what's going on in the state of California, and there's constantly more and more bills being passed, making it easier for the criminals. AB 109, Prop 47, 57. And the last number that I heard, because of what Prop 57 did, was now it's about 11,500 convicted felons are going to be released into our communities up and down the state of California early. So more, sure enough, bad people getting kicked out of prison so that they can victimize honest, law-abiding citizens. We keep passing laws, making it better for criminals in this state. Now we've got this coming up. Everybody familiar with this? The gun rationing bill of the state of California. The gun rationing bill. Now, what could that possibly be, you ask? Well, currently in the state of California, if you want to buy a handgun, you can only buy one handgun every 30 days. A lot of people would think, well, that's probably plenty. Some of us would argue with that fact and call it an inconvenience. Well, now it's going to be you can only buy one firearm every 30 days. So let's say that you wanted to get involved in organized shooting sports, and your grandson was going to celebrate his 8th birthday. So when you went down to the sporting goods store or the gun store, you wanted to purchase 2 firearms. Well, you cannot do that because of the gun rationing bill provided by the legislature in the state of California. What will this do to prevent crime, Chief? I'm going to call on the expert here. Would you tell me? Let the record show. Yes, pan over there, please. He's the expert in this matter. That is a big, fat zero. It will do nothing to prevent crimes, to slow down crimes. It will do everything to infringe on the rights of law-abiding, tax-paying citizens. This is garbage, more garbage coming out of Sacramento. I hope that doesn't come to pass. Next up, there's a great deal of discussion about cannabis out there in the state of California, and it's coming upon us, and a lot of people think that the benefits of the sales of cannabis outweigh the negatives. Well, you need to look at both sides of every issue. If one thinks, well, there'll finally be a place you can buy cannabis, one only need to get on your iPhone, look up "Where's Weed," and you will find that there's some 123 dispensaries in the city of Bakersfield right now. I had no idea they had such a bad testicular cancer cluster in the city of Bakersfield, but thank heaven they can provide for all those people. I'm actually being facetious in that regard. This came up. Anybody recognize that fellow? Tiger Woods, one of the great golfers of all time, incredible athlete in his day. Well, Tiger was arrested. They thought he was under the influence of alcohol. Turns out that it was not. It was prescription drugs. And then in this article, it goes on to talk about what is going on. Crashes involving drug drivers have nearly doubled over the last decade. In 2015, 21% of the 32,000 plus fatal crashes in the United States involved one driver who tested positive for drugs, up from 12% of the 39,232 in 2015, according to the National Highway Safety Administration. According to data released last year by the government's National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, use of marijuana and prescription drugs is increasingly prominent among drivers on America's roads, which raises a new safety challenge. Where it's illegal across the United States to drive while drunk, the laws involving drug driving vary across the states. the negative aspects of the increased usage and availability of the drug are rearing its ugly head. And I won't bore you with all of it. Marijuana is another problem for road safety. Fatal crashes involving drivers who recently used marijuana doubled in Washington state to 17% in 2014 from 8% in 2013. Doubled in 1 year. Remember, it's legal in Washington state. After the legalization of the drug there, according to a study released last year by AAA Foundation for Traffic Safety. Legal limits for marijuana and driving are arbitrary and unsupported by science, which could result in unsafe motorists going free and others being wrongfully convicted of impaired driving. Recreational sales of marijuana ballooned to about $1.8 billion in 2016. So people look at that, some people do, and say, well, as long as we tax that, what a wonderful funding source. Well, if you truly believe that all the positive financial aspects of cannabis far outweigh the negative aspects, then do everybody a favor and look around the room and figure out which of your loved ones you're willing to sacrifice. Who are you okay with getting killed by somebody under the influence? Is it a husband, a wife, a son, a daughter? Who is it? There are goods and bads for a lot of different things. Do not just ignore these facts when you're thinking about a couple of bucks. Unfortunately, that happens in Sacramento a lot. We will consider all these facts as a city. All right, next up. I know I'm being a little bit windy, but I'm going to close with this. I just received the Kern-LAFCO budget for fiscal year 2017-2018. Everybody look at that? Did y'all get that? Did you get that?
I saw that.
I looked at it. And in it, it shows the adopted budgets for LAFCO, 2011, 2012, 13, 14, 15, all the way through the preliminary budget for 2017. The salaries go like this. Adopted in 11-12, the salary was $177,000, went up to $185,000, $200,000, $205,000, $205,000. Then in 16-17, ballooned to $255,000, and 17-18, $275,000. That doesn't sound like a lot of money, but when you look at the percent increase, remember, in 11-12, 177. By 17-18, 275. But now here is the shocking part of all of this. The state retirement costs in 11-12 were $14,000. We have spoken many, many times up here about the gorilla in the room, the unfunded liability in CalPERS and CalSTRS. And it's been ignored for a very, very long time. But finally, it's gotten so bad and so large, it had to be addressed. So if you look at the cost for the state retirement for this very small government body, it goes from $14,000 the next year, $20,000. $14,000 to $20,000. That's an alarming increase. That's almost 50%, folks. Then $22,500, $25,500, $25,500. Then we start paying on the unfunded liability in PERS. It's a line item beginning 3 years ago. Now, the trend is your friend. You all have heard me say that many times, and since I'm kind of soft-minded, perhaps, it's hard for me to grasp if I just pour these numbers out for you. So I made this little graph to help illustrate what's going on here. In this graph, this black line is the increase in salaries from $177,000 to $275,000. And relative to that is the increase in the PERS contribution. You see the line right here going along, and then all of a sudden, the state realized we had better start funding the unfunded liability. So look what happened to the contributions. You see that line? See that skyrocket? That's where the contributions in 6 years went from $14,000 to $67,815. Right there. Wow. There it is. And you wonder, where are my tax dollars going? Why aren't we fixing roads? Why aren't we fixing alleyways? How come there aren't more police officers on the street? What are you folks doing with our money? Well, to you, the tax-paying citizen, there's your money. That's where it's going. It's being diverted from the general fund to pay the interest, the debt on unfunded liability. And it's happening all over this state. And that trend is going to continue. It cannot continue for perpetuity. Okay? It will lead to a dismal failure. So I read this little report, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to map that out. If I can share that
It's
thing.
only about a 500% increase.
Yeah. So, there you have it.
Mr. Mayor, might I add there, that's not discretionary spending. That's statutorily required.
That is correct. No,
And
you
that's-
cannot kick that one down the road because the state of California has already kicked it down the road.
Across the state, municipalities, school districts, things like that, all alike.
Some 430 of them involved in CalPERS. So, enough for sharing information. I'm glad to be back. I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. I love living in the city of Taft. God bless America. God bless all those who make this place what it is and have. Do not forget them. All right. Moving forward, department reports. Do we have any department reports? I believe the chief is going to come talk to us.
Council, Mr. Mayor, I'm not going to dovetail on your statement. I'm just going to let you know that there's some other things coming down the road that you may not be aware of. First of all, let me start off by telling you that when I took this job, I took an oath. It's an oath I take very seriously. And part of that oath, some of you have taken also, and that oath is partially read as, I swear to affirm and uphold the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You probably remember that part. I don't remember seeing the part that said, except for those areas that the state of California legislature says we're not going to enforce. So two things coming down the pike. One of them you know about, SB 54, which is the sanctuary state legislation that's coming down the pike. It says that we cannot lift a finger to help immigration whatsoever. We cannot give them manpower or money. We can't talk to them. We can't give them reports. We are forbidden from doing anything whatsoever to help immigration. But the other one coming down the line, and I want to read this to you, is AB 1578. Have you heard of this one yet? This is the marijuana reform laws that says that we can't help work on marijuana cases with the federal government either. And what it says is a state or local agency shall not do any of the following without a court order signed by a judge. You may not use agency money, facilities, property, equipment, or personnel to assist a federal agency to investigate, detain, detect, report, or arrest any persons for commercial or non-commercial marijuana or medical cannabis activity as authorized by the laws of the state of California. So I wanted you to know that it's coming down the pike. 1578's already passed out of the Assembly. It did so last week and is headed to the Senate. It's expected to be ratified by the Senate and will go to the governor's desk. We don't know what the governor's going to do with it, but specifically, we will be prohibited from helping the federal government on any types of marijuana laws whatsoever. We can't even let them have a meeting in our office. It's that severe.
What's the punishment for violating that?
Employer state funding.
Yeah, they'll withhold money from us. The state will. The state will find a way to punish us, and they have one great big other gorilla in the room. We call that the CCF. The state has proven to be very vindictive in that regard. So if you see that coming down the pike and you're wondering what it is, that's what it is specifically. Except for those laws the state says we can enforce, we can't really do anything, apparently, according to our oath. So maybe we should change our oath, I guess, of office.
Thank you, Chief. It's getting increasingly difficult to answer to the public, and I'd be willing to bet everybody up here on this dais has had some citizen at some point in time or another say, why aren't you doing something about the rash of property crimes? I read a report from Kamala Harris who said there never should have been a war on drugs because there is no such thing as a war on drugs. Drugs aren't a crime. Drugs are a healthcare issue. Did you hear what I just said? That's what she said. So those of you who have had your house broken into, your property stolen, things like that by somebody either wanting to get drugs or being under the influence of drugs, you're not the victim of a crime. You're a victim of a healthcare issue. So you need only get plenty of rest and drink lots of water, and you'll be better in the morning. This, according to Kamala Harris.
I have a question about that. That's called a healthcare issue. So if a guy breaks in your house and you shoot him, is that a healthcare issue too?
It's going to be
Considered a healthcare
Could
issue?
potentially be. There are a lot of different things that.
going to need health care.
It's not an issue if you miss.
Well, I like
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Mayor.
Chief.
I love living in Taft, but I'm beginning to hate living in California. And God bless the United States, and we have some issues back there. But for those people who think that, our current administration and what's going on back in Washington is the issue that affects us the most, it is not. It is the California State Legislature doing stupid, silly stuff like that they're proposing.
I would have to agree. And one final comment, and I'll dovetail on what the chief said. This past Memorial Day, I was at the cemetery during the Memorial Day program. Councilman Miller was there. He always is. And as I stood there listening and during the playing of taps, that morning I had gone and had coffee at a local establishment, and I read another article about another benefit for illegal aliens. And then I just recently saw another news story about a legislator down south who says that currently children of illegal aliens lose their health care benefits at the age of 19, and we can use money from the tobacco tax to extend those health care benefits for the children of illegal aliens to the age of 26. When I was there at the cemetery watching the program, I tried to reflect and remember how often I hear about legislation coming out of the state of California to help with all the homeless veterans that live in this state, and the veterans who cannot get health care, and the veterans who need psychological health care. But it seems like not 2 days go by without some legislation that is aimed at making life better for either criminal behavior or illegal aliens. I don't understand that. Those that were elected in the state of California as elected representatives, and maybe that's why I hate the phrase elected official, because when people become an elected official, they feel that they are over and above the interests of those that put them in office. We are elected representatives. We represent the interests and the needs and the safety of the people of the city of Taft, the people who voted us into this office. Those who cannot vote, we don't represent them. Okay? And take that how you want, but that's the reality. And that is the way I feel about that. So, moving forward. Planning Commission reports. We have a planning commissioner going to talk to us as well.
Well, I got to follow all that, huh?
Yes, sir, and you're welcome.
All right, this is from the Planning Commission report from Tuesday, May 17th.
Would you introduce yourself, Bob?
Bob Lycum, 901 3rd Street, Planning Commissioner.
Thank you.
Buckle up, you may want to order pizza.
We don't know where not to order from.
Some habits are hard to break. All right. From Tuesday, May 17th, the Planning Commission recommended the approval of zoning ordinance amendment number 2016-23. This was in regards to regulations regarding home occupation and home businesses. The amendment seeks to merge the prior home occupation standards with the current standards. The City of Taft welcomes home businesses, but does not want alterations that would create a nuisance with excessive noise, lighting, or traffic, such as there should be no walk-up window sills, no use of commercial vehicles in the area. Such businesses would include, but not be limited to, hairdressers, motor vehicle repair, and firearm sales. Employees of such business shall be family members and shall reside on the premises. This is designed to ensure that home businesses do not change the primary residential use or affect neighboring residential use at all. Item number 2, discussed by the Planning Commission, recommended the approval of zoning ordinance amendment number 2017-11. This amends definitions, references, and regulations for accessory dwelling units in an effort to encourage more units to be built. Now, this would allow for another residence to be built with separate utilities and mail delivery, creating a half address, which has been a common practice here in Taft for decades, but does not allow for full-time residency, such as in a trailer. again allowing for maximum density of 5 dwelling units per acre. Now, other topics of future discussion that were listed were the demolition of abandoned structures, stray shopping carts, weed abatement, prolonged street parking, and food trucks such as permits and locations. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 21st. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bob. Appreciate your report. Next up, city manager's statements.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a quick announcement. We will be doing some paving in the areas that we did the blade seal on, the 18th and 19th of June, areas of Calvin and Bell. I forget the other street down there, but...
So Woodrow?
Whatever one got the blade seal, we'll get the hot asphalt to finish out our budget for this year for the paving.
3rd Street?
Yes, 3rd Street, but not 3rd Street this time on the south side of Current Street, just the residential areas. We're concentrating on the residential areas. That's all I have.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, city attorney statements.
No statement, Mr. Mayor.
No statements.
Oh, I got one more.
Oh, well, then we're going to go back to the city manager. You can use the city attorney's time.
Okay. We completed the project at the wastewater treatment plant. We've discussed that. There is an RV dump station out there that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but you must come to City Hall, pay, I believe, a $15 fee and fill out some paperwork to get issued a card. Don't lose the card because you'll have to pay the $15 again. But once you're issued the card, it's good forever. There's some things you got to do when you get out there. You got to enter a PIN number, hit go, you dump your RV, you hit in dump, and it gives you a little printout, and you're on your way. There's fresh water out there for use. While you're dumping, you got to push the button and turn it on. But I think, including myself, there's only 4 people in the last month that's got that card. So trying to get the word out there.
My son got one of those cards, and I have the application sitting on my desk, so I've been meaning to do that.
It's very convenient. You don't have to try to back into the park if you have a long trailer, and you can get home on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday night or midnight and go out to the, it's actually outside the plant, plenty of light, cameras out there.
Turn around.
Yeah.
Easy to get in and out.
And that's just, everybody, that's a one-time fee, $15 one-time fee, not each time you dump. It's a one-time fee, $15. Very reasonable. It's a very nice facility.
Just don't
and
lose the card.
Very responsible. Don't lose the card, whatever
You'll
you do.
have to pay.
Who is eligible? Is it only residents of the city?
No, I believe there's a slight fee increase for non-9326 residents.
Okay.
Because the county, but it's only $5 more.
Very good. I've had a lot of people, ask
There's
that
no
question.
charge per dump unless you're commercial.
Fantastic.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next up, consent calendar, items 9 through 17. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Item number 9 would be the minutes for the May 16th regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 10 would be the payment of bills, sum total of close to $1 million. Item number 11, the Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 1. The recommendation is first, a motion to receive the 2017-2018 Engineers Report for Landscape Maintenance District number 1. And second, a motion to adopt a resolution titled A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft declaring its intention to review the improvements and fees for Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 1 and set the public hearing for June 20th, 2017. Item number 12, street closures for the 2017 Chamber of Commerce Car Show. Recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing the street closures for the 2017 Chamber of Commerce Car Show. Item 13 is an agreement with the County of Kern for fire protection duties. Recommendation there is for a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving the contractual agreement between the County of Kern and the City of Taft for county provision of fire protection duties and enforcement of state fire marshal regulations." Item 14, funding to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of January 2017 to March 2017. Recommendation there?
Might say that that's about $8,500.
Yes, it is. It's been getting better and better.
TOT tax is working very well.
The motion there to approve the 25% allocation of the transit occupancy tax to the Taft Chamber of Commerce for the quarter of January 2017 through March 2017. Item 15 is Engineering Professional Services Task Order for CDBG Sidewalk Project. That recommendation is a motion to approve a task order with Health Engineering in the amount not to exceed $43,000 to assist city staff with the CDBG funded infrastructure project in compliance. Item 16 is asphalt paving at the Taft Municipal Wastewater Treatment Plant. Recommendation there is a motion to appropriate a total amount of $56,373 out of the Taft Wastewater Treatment Plant capital reserves to install new asphalt, at the plant located at 1100 East Ash Street in Taft. A portion of that obviously is county funds as well. Item 17 is the 2017-2018 appropriations limit. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft establishing appropriations limit for 2017-2018." Do any council members wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
Number 11, Mr. Mayor.
Number 11. All right. Any others? Gentleman, lady? No. None. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill,
Yes.
Mayor North.
Yes. Pass on 5-0 vote. Thank you. All right. Item number 11, Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District number 1. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The funds for Maintenance District Number 1 are collected by the Kern County Assessor's Office and dispersed to the city as a special assessment. These assessments, when collected, will go to the prospective funds to pay for the maintenance and operation of landscaping, walls, lighting, and drainage of the Maintenance District. It is necessary to complete an engineer's report annually to evaluate the annual assessment on the lots within the Maintenance District and to add new lots to the Maintenance District if needed. The city engineer has prepared an engineer's report for Lighting Landscape District Number 1 in accordance with a section of 22623 of the Streets and Highways Code. The engineer's report is available for review.
Thank you, City Manager Jones. At this time, I would entertain a motion to receive the 17-18 Engineers Report for Landscape Maintenance District Number 1 and a motion to adopt a resolution titled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft declaring its intention to review the improvements and fees for Landscape and Lighting Maintenance District Number 1 and set the public hearing for June 20th, 2017.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All right, Councilman Bryant, you asked that we remove this item.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to make sure we're all very clear on what this is for. At the current going rate, that each parcel, each 100 of the 128 parcels in that maintenance and lighting district is being assessed an $86.20 fee annually, right? Based on the engineer's report, it looks like that number, actual cost-wise, works out to about $144 per parcel. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. So for less than $60 more a year, we'll be meeting the needs of that fund and no longer deficit spending. Is that correct?
Yes.
So for less than the cost of a $5 Starbucks every month for an entire year, I could pay my home's portion because I want to make sure folks understand I live in this tract. So for an extra $60 a year, I can make sure they would maintain the lighting, shrubs, cleanliness of all the lights, shrubs, trees, everything in that area, correct?
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
I rest my case.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Councilman Miller.
When was the last time that assessment was increased? Not since I've been on council, and it's been
20 plus
almost
years.
15 years. It's been the same exact amount.
I can tell you that, remember, that was put on the ballot. This came before the voters.
Prop 218.
And that's correct. And the turnout for that small group of voters was dismal. I remember talking about it. It was quite pathetic. And it was turned down, voted down. So, whereas you have Councilman O'Brien saying that is more than reasonable, plus if you think about it, if they're only paying $86 and it's costing $140-something, that means somebody else is paying for their portion in order to be able to maintain that. And our staff works very, very hard to maintain those costs at acceptable levels and minimize those costs, and at the same time be able to take pride in our community for the entire community, not just those that are fortunate enough to live there. So I would agree with you. I remember when that came and that was voted on, I remember that it was rejected, and I remember the dismal turnout for those people that were a part of it. I cannot forget that. I would only hope that perhaps people who live there, people like Councilman Bryant, can talk to the other peoples that live there and help them understand how fortunate they are to still have the level of care that is provided in that landscaping district, in spite of the fact that they are not actually paying the cost. Other people are. And hopefully they come to that realization and do what is responsible and what is right. So I thank you for your comments, and I thank you for your commitment.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's say, for argument's sake, that we voted not to do this, that we voted not to pay this additional money. Would that mean that they would not have the landscaping across the front of that? All those trees would die, all that landscaping would die, and that their lighting might not be there?
What it would mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, is that we would have to cut back on the amount of time, therefore money and effort that we spend on keeping it at its current level. In order to do that, you would have to cut back on the water so the shrubs and the grass grew slower, and you wouldn't cut it nearly as often, and you wouldn't spend as much time raking and trimming in order to give them what they're paying for instead of the premium service that they are enjoying. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Does that answer your question?
So, like I said, if we said, no, we're not going to do that, that area would not look as nice.
That is
It's a
absolutely
rock and hard spot. We don't want it to look bad.
No, we don't.
This is the city of Taft, and we take pride in what we have in our infrastructure. It's just hard to convince people that they need to pay their fair share, and that's on anything. And of course, that would be a tax increase, and people are wholly against tax increases. So if it didn't pass, or the people don't want to step up, we just have to readjust our budget to take away from something else to pay for keeping and maintaining that area.
There would be a point in time when those services would be reduced, and they would have to be. So that is correct. So hopefully those that didn't vote last time will take this to heart. The people that live there that care and appreciate what they're getting, much like yourself, Councilman, can talk to their neighbors and help them understand just exactly what's going on and where they are. And it would be a wonderful thing if they voluntarily stepped up to the plate.
Did we do a mail-in ballot kind of thing? Yeah.
And it failed to meet the requirements. From what I understand, there was one resident that took the time to go out and visit quite a few folks and explain to them why they shouldn't vote yes for it.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I might interject and add a couple things. I, for one, am one who often is vehemently against any increase in taxes because I don't know where the hell that money's going to go. I live where that money goes every day. And I understand the benefit that we get for such a little payment. And even an incremental payment such as this, which, let's say is a 50% increase or 100% increase almost. That's a lot. We talk about the increases. When you look at brass tacks, $60 a year. I'm paying that twice a year, so $30 installments to the county to keep what I have. And to make sure that we're not cutting any corners across the entire city anywhere else just so I can enjoy and my neighbors can enjoy the shrubs that are across the street. To me, I think that's absolutely fair. It's very clear where that money is going, and I would vehemently support this.
And if you look, like Councilman Miller brought up, look back, and we will get the answer to that question, by the way, Councilman Miller, about when is the last time that it was increased, if indeed it ever has been increased from the very beginning. So we'll get that piece of information.
I have a question, I'm sorry. Now, the new development that's being built in Sandy Creek, does that have a green belt that's going to be maintained also?
Yeah, there's a separate landscape lighting district for that. We've been working with the property owner, which Colston owns most of the lots there, so he would have the majority say-so if it's in there or not in there.
So we won't get ourselves in this kind of position again?
Try not to. The Prop 218 is can be tedious and expensive. That's why we haven't went back out for a rate increase, is because it costs us so much to even try the first time, because there's a legal process, there's all kinds of noticing requirements, mail outs. It was a tremendous effort, and we thought out of all the rate increases that we did, I believe in 2007, that would be an easy one, and it got shot.
And it went down. So we spent a
Like
bunch
you
of
said,
money
if you
trying.
look at it over a whole year, it's not that much.
Yeah. Okay, well, good discussion. Thank you very much for pointing that off of there. So,
On the 20th, we're going to find out if we have any support or opposition to this. Hopefully, we'll have some people come down and talk about it.
Well, after this thing airs, I'll find out when I start finding eggs on my front doorstep.
hopefully you get thank you
Who
notes.
knows? People might have thought it was $50 to $5 increase a month.
$60 a year, people. It's nothing.
It has been a very long time since it's been increased as well. So, any further discussion?
No, thank you.
All right, then we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Councilmember Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hill,
Yes.
Mayor North.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. All right, at this time, we have come to the closed session portion of our meeting. We're going to go into closed session for 3 different items. The annual performance evaluation, Government Code Section 54957, City Attorney. Item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Taft Union High School versus City of Taft. Item C, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code 54957.6, all units. Thank you very much for being a part of this evening's meeting.